20. Black Hollywood stars who died way too young. What if the brightest stars of Black Hollywood icons with voices that moved millions and performances that broke barriers were never given the chance to finish their stories? From singers who sold millions before their 25th birthday, to actors who redefined representation on screen. These legends were taken far too soon, leaving behind haunting questions and a legacy frozen in time. Why do we lose so many gifted lives at the height of their brilliance? Stay with us as we uncover their journeys, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more untold stories. Aaliyah Houghton. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, born January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, New York, grew up surrounded by music. Her parents quickly recognized her vocal gifts, enrolling her in voice lessons and supporting her early performances. By the age of 10, she was appearing on Star Search and touring with Gladys Knight experiences that would prepare her for a meteoric rise. At just 12 years old, she signed her first record deal, a rare achievement for someone so young. Her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, released in 1994, sold over 3 million copies in the United States and established her as a new R&B sensation. With her sophomore album, One in a Million, released in 1996, Aaliyah pushed the boundaries of contemporary R&B. Produced largely by Timbaland and Missy Elliott, the record sold more than 8 million copies worldwide and gave the world hits like If Your Girl Only Knew and 4-Page Letter. Her sound, characterized by smooth vocals over innovative beats, made her a trendsetter for a new generation. Beyond music, she expanded into acting, starring alongside Jet Li in Romeo Must Die 2000. The film's soundtrack featured her smash hit Try Again, which made history by becoming the first song to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, based solely on radio airplay. Her third self-titled album, released in July 2001, showcased her maturity as an artist. Songs like We Need a Resolution and Rock the Boat revealed a young woman ready to dominate not just music, but also film, with planned roles in the Matrix sequels and Honey. At the time, critics described her as the princess of R&B, but many believed she was destined to become its queen. Tragically, on August 25, 2001, Aaliyah's life was cut short when a small plane carrying her and her team crashed shortly after takeoff in the Bahamas. She was only 22 years old. The loss shocked the entertainment world. Candlelight vigils were held across the United States, and thousands of fans gathered at her funeral in New York. Even in death, her influence continued. Artists like Drake, Beyoncé, and Rihanna have openly cited Aaliyah as a source of inspiration. Her style, music videos, and understated elegance remain timeless, shaping R&B, pop, and fashion decades later. More than 2 decades have passed since her death, yet her impact remains vivid. Posthumous releases, documentaries, and renewed access to her catalog on streaming platforms have introduced her music to younger generations. While the world mourns the career she never got to finish, her artistry endures as a symbol of promise, grace, and originality, reminding us all how fragile brilliance can be. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Amaru Shakur, born June 16, 1971 in East Harlem, New York, was more than a rapper. He was a cultural force whose words echoed the struggles and aspirations of an entire generation. His mother, Afeni Shakur, a member of the Black Panther Party, instilled in him a sharp political awareness from a young age. After moving to Baltimore, Tupac enrolled in the Baltimore School for the Arts, where he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. This formal training honed his ability to blend raw street narratives with profound artistry, creating a voice unlike any other in hip-hop. Tupac's recording career began with Tupacalypse Now, 1991, a debut album that addressed police brutality, systemic racism, and urban hardship. Though controversial, it cemented him as a fearless truth-teller. His next projects, including Strictly for My Niggaz and Me Against the World, pushed his fame higher, with the latter debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 while he was incarcerated. Few artists have achieved such a feat, underscoring his unique grip on the public. By 1996, Tupac had released All Eyes on Me, the first double album in hip-hop history, selling over 5 million copies within its first year. Songs like California Love and How Do You Want It became anthems of the West Coast sound, while tracks like Dear Mama revealed his vulnerability and depth. His music was more than entertainment, it was a mirror to the realities of Black America in the 1990s. He also found success in Hollywood, starring in films such as Juice 1992 and Poetic Justice 1993, alongside Janet Jackson. Yet fame brought turbulence. Tupac became entangled in the East Coast-West Coast rivalry, legal battles, and public feuds. Still, even amid controversy, he recorded tirelessly, leaving behind an estimated 700 unreleased songs and poems. This staggering output continues to fuel posthumous albums, ensuring his voice never fades. On September 7, 1996, after attending a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas, Tupac was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting. He died 6 days later on September 13th at only 25 years old. His murder remains officially unsolved, adding layers of mystery to his already mythic status. Nearly 3 decades later, Tupac remains a symbol of resistance artistry and unfulfilled potential. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017, he is remembered not just for his music, but for his poetry, activism, and charisma. His life reminds us of how art can both heal and ignite, and how a single voice can outlast a lifetime. Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G. Christopher George Latour Wallace. Better known by his stage names, the Notorious B.I.G., or Biggie Smalls, was born on May 21, 1972, in Brooklyn, New York. Raised in the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood, he experienced poverty, violence, and instability, yet his remarkable intellect and creativity allowed him to transform hardship into art. Dropping out of high school, Wallace became immersed in the street life that would later fuel his storytelling, crafting verses that blended grit with poetry. By 1993, his talent was undeniable. Sean Puff Daddy Combs recognized his potential and signed him to Bad Boy Records. In 1994, Wallace released Ready to Die, an album that revolutionized East Coast rap. With hits like Juicy Warning and Big Papa, the album sold over 6 million copies in the United States and gave voice to a generation grappling with urban realities. His ability to mix vulnerability with bravado created a powerful narrative balance, earning him respect from fans and critics alike. As his fame soared, Wallace became a symbol of New York hip-hop culture. His distinctive baritone delivery, clever wordplay, and cinematic verses set him apart from his peers. He collaborated with Faith Evans, Lil' Kim, and Junior M.A.F.I.A., crafting classics that expanded his reach beyond rap circles. His fashion sense, marked by Coogi sweaters and designer frames, became as iconic as his music, shaping hip-hop's aesthetic in the 1990s. In March 1997, while promoting his second album in Los Angeles, Wallace's life was tragically cut short. On March 9th, he was gunned down in a drive-by shooting after leaving a party. Only 24 years old, his murder mirrored the violent loss of Tupac Shakur 6 months earlier, intensifying speculation and conspiracy theories that remain unresolved. Just weeks after his death, his double album, Life After Death, was released. Debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, it went on to sell over 10 million copies in the United States alone, achieving diamond certification. Tracks like Mo Money, Mo Problems, and Hypnotize became global anthems, ensuring that Wallace's legacy would endure far beyond his short life. The Notorious B.I.G. is celebrated as one of the greatest rappers of all time. His induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020 affirmed his influence not only on hip-hop, but also on popular culture as a whole. Though his life was tragically brief, his artistry continues to inspire, proving that even a fleeting presence can leave an everlasting mark. Tammy Terrell. Born Thomasina Winifred Montgomery on April 29, 1945, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was destined for greatness from the moment she began singing as a child. She displayed a natural gift for performance, entering talent shows and eventually recording her first single at just 15 years old. Her early work, while promising, only hinted at the brilliance that would later shine through during her time with Motown Records. By the mid-1960s, Tammy had become one of the label's most radiant stars, admired for her sweet yet powerful voice and magnetic stage presence. Her career soared when she was paired with Marvin Gaye, forming one of the most unforgettable duos in Motown history. Their chemistry was undeniable both musically and emotionally, resulting in timeless hits such as Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, and You're All I Need to Get By. Each duet revealed a magical balance, Gaye's smooth, soulful delivery intertwined perfectly with Tammy's bright, uplifting tone. These songs not only dominated the charts, but also became enduring anthems of love and unity, cementing her place in soul music history. At the height of her success, tragedy struck. In October 1967, while performing on stage with Marvin Gaye, Tammy suddenly collapsed. Doctors soon discovered she had a malignant brain tumor, and over the next 3 years, she would undergo 8 surgeries in a desperate fight for her life. Despite her illness, Tammy remained resilient and continued to record, often performing seated in the studio when her health allowed. Her courage inspired everyone around her, and her dedication to her craft revealed the depth of her spirit. Sadly, her condition worsened, and on March 16, 1970, Tammy Terrell passed away just a month shy of her 25th birthday. Her death devastated Marvin Gaye, who fell into a deep depression and took a hiatus from performing. Many believe that his groundbreaking 1971 album What's Going On was directly influenced by the grief he felt after losing her. Fans around the globe also mourned, realizing that one of Motown's brightest young stars had been extinguished far too soon. Though her life was brief, Tammy's impact was profound. Her voice continues to live on through her recordings, which remain staples of classic soul playlists. More than 5 decades later, her duets still inspire new generations of listeners, proving that true artistry transcends time. Tammy Terrell's story is a bittersweet reminder of both the beauty and fragility of life, and her music ensures that she will never be forgotten. Otis Redding. Otis Ray Redding Jr. Born September 9, 1941 in Dawson, Georgia, grew up surrounded by gospel and rhythm and blues. His powerful, emotive voice first found its place in church choirs, but it didn't take long before he began chasing bigger dreams. After moving to Macon, Georgia, he immersed himself in the local music scene, following in the footsteps of soul pioneers like Little Richard. His determination was relentless. He would drive bands around, help set up equipment, and wait patiently for his chance to perform. That opportunity came in 1962 when he recorded These Arms of Mine, a heartfelt ballad that marked the beginning of a career that would reshape soul music forever. Redding's ascent was steady and profound. Songs like I've Been Loving You Too Long and Respect displayed both his vocal strength and his ability to infuse every lyric with raw emotion. He became the flagship artist of Stax Records, and by the mid-1960s, he was recognized as one of the most electrifying performers in America. His stage presence was magnetic. Audiences were drawn not only to his voice, but to the passion and sincerity he carried with every note. By 1967, Otis Redding had firmly established himself as a global star. His unforgettable performance at the Monterey Pop Festival that year introduced him to a wider, predominantly white rock audience, elevating him to crossover success. Just months later, he recorded Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, a reflective, groundbreaking track that showed a new side of his artistry. The song blended soul with folk influences, signaling the exciting creative directions he was about to explore. Tragically, just 3 days after recording the Dock of the Bay, Redding's life was cut short. On December 10, 1967, his plane crashed near Madison, Wisconsin, killing him and most of his band members. He was only 26 years old. In January 1968, the Dock of the Bay was released posthumously, and went on to become the first ever posthumous single to top the Billboard Hot 100. The song's whistled outro and bittersweet tone became an eternal reminder of both his genius and the immense loss suffered by the music world. Though his career lasted barely 5 years, Redding's impact has endured for decades. He influenced artists from Aretha Franklin to Janis Joplin, from Al Green to modern-day singers who still look to his recordings as a masterclass in emotional honesty. His legacy is one of passion, authenticity, and soul at its purest form. Otis Redding's flame may have burned briefly, but its light remains eternal in the story of American music. Jimi Hendrix. James Marshall. Jimi Hendrix, born November 27, 1942 in Seattle. Washington revolutionized the sound of the electric guitar in ways that no one before him had imagined. Raised in a modest household, Hendrix found solace in music, early on teaching himself to play on a broken acoustic guitar his father had given him. By his teenage years, he was already experimenting with rhythm and melody, channeling influences from blues legends like B.B. King and Muddy Waters. After a brief stint in the U.S. Army, Hendrix dedicated himself fully to music, working as a session guitarist for stars such as Little Richard and the Isley Brothers, before stepping into the spotlight himself. His breakthrough came in London in 1966, where he formed the Jimi Hendrix Experience with Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell. The trio exploded onto the scene with hits like Hey Joe Purple Haze and The Wind Cries Mary. Hendrix's innovative use of distortion feedback and wah-wah pedals transformed rock music, pushing the boundaries of what a guitar could express. Critics and fans alike marveled at his ability to blend raw power with lyrical sensitivity, making him not just a musician, but a sonic pioneer. By 1967, his performance at the Monterey Pop Festival, where he famously set his guitar ablaze, cemented his status as a global icon. Just 2 years later, he delivered a legendary rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock, a performance that captured both the turmoil and hope of a generation. Hendrix was more than a performer. He was a cultural figure whose music mirrored the social upheaval of the late 1960s. Despite his meteoric rise, Hendrix lived under constant pressure. Fame, grueling tour schedules, and personal struggles weighed heavily on him. On September 18, 1970, in London, Hendrix was found lifeless at the age of 27, after complications linked to sleeping pills and asphyxia. His death shocked the music world, cutting short a career that had lasted just 4 transformative years. In that brief span, Hendrix released 3 landmark studio albums: Are You Experienced, Axis Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland, all of which are still studied as masterpieces of rock innovation. His posthumous releases, including live recordings and unreleased tracks, only deepened his reputation as one of the greatest musicians of all time. Jimi Hendrix remains an enduring symbol of artistic freedom and experimentation. His influence stretches across genres from rock to funk to hip-hop, proving that his sound was not bound by time. Though his life was fleeting, Hendrix's genius continues to resonate, reminding the world that true artistry can transcend mortality. Lisa Left Eye Lopes. Lisa Nicole Lopes, better known as Left Eye, was born on May 27, 1971 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. From an early age, she displayed an artistic flair, writing poetry and experimenting with music long before fame ever found her. Her nickname, Left Eye, came from a boyfriend who admired the unique slant in her left eye, and it soon became a persona that symbolized her fiery energy, creativity, and bold individuality. By 1990, Lopes joined forces with Tian T-Boz Watkins and Rosanda Chili Thomas to form TLC, a group destined to become one of the most successful female acts in music history. With TLC, Lisa was the spark that kept the fire alive. Their 1992 debut album, Oh, on the TLC tip, introduced the world to a fresh, unapologetic trio blending R&B, hip-hop, and pop. But it was their sophomore release, Crazy Sexy Cool, 1994, that made history. The album sold more than 14 million copies in the United States, fueled by mega hits like Creep and Waterfalls. Lopes's rap verses brought edge and authenticity to the group, complementing T-Boz's raspy alto and Chili's smooth soprano. Her charisma extended beyond the microphone. Her style, with bold outfits and playful energy, influenced fashion trends throughout the decade. By the late 1990s, TLC had become global superstars. Their third album, Fan Mail 1999, went 6 times platinum in the US, with No Scrubs topping charts around the world. Lisa continued to shine as the outspoken member of the group, never afraid to express her views on creative control and the music industry. Outside of TLC, she pursued solo projects, founded a record label, and mentored younger artists, proving she was more than just a group member, she was a visionary. Sadly, her life came to an abrupt end on April 25, 2002. While in Honduras working on humanitarian projects and filming a documentary about her spiritual journey, Lopes lost control of the SUV she was driving. The crash killed her instantly. She was only 30 years old. News of her death devastated fans worldwide, and both T-Boz and Chili have often spoken of the deep void her absence left in their lives and careers. Even in death, Lisa's legacy endures. TLC continues to honor her memory in their performances, often leaving her verses in their songs untouched, so that her voice lives on with the music. Beyond sales and awards, over 65 million records worldwide, Lisa Lopes is remembered as a fearless artist whose creativity, energy, and individuality helped redefine what it meant to be a woman in hip-hop and R&B. Her star may have burned quickly, but it will never stop shining. Minnie Riperton. Minnie. Julia Riperton, born November 8, 1947, in Chicago, Illinois, was blessed with one of the most extraordinary voices in music history. Gifted with a 5.5-octave vocal range, she could seamlessly reach the whistle register, a rare technique that later influenced artists like Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande. Raised in Chicago's South Side, Minnie first sang in church before joining the teenage girl group, The Gems. Her early career included background vocals for Chess Records, supporting artists such as Etta James and Fontella Bass, proving her natural talent was impossible to ignore. In the late 1960s, Riperton joined the psychedelic soul band Rotary Connection, where her unique voice began to shine. With songs like Memory Band and Les Fleurs, she fused experimental sounds with soulful melodies. Yet her true breakthrough came as a solo artist. In 1974, she released Perfect Angel, an album produced by Stevie Wonder. It featured her most iconic song, Lovin' You, a tender ballad dedicated to her daughter, Maya. With Minnie's crystalline high notes and the sound of birds chirping in the background, the track became a global sensation, topping the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. Audiences were mesmerized not just by her vocal ability, but by her warmth and sincerity. Riperton had an angelic presence that made every performance feel intimate, as though she was singing directly to each listener. Her music spoke of love, joy, and tenderness, offering a contrast to the political turbulence of the 1970s. Tragedy struck in 1976 when Riperton revealed she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. At just 29 years old, doctors gave her 6 months to live. Refusing to surrender, she underwent treatment while continuing to record and perform. She also became a national spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, using her fame to raise awareness about early detection. Her bravery inspired millions, showing the world that even in the face of mortality, she could sing and smile with grace. Despite her courage, Minnie's condition worsened. On July 12, 1979, she passed away at the age of 31. Her funeral was attended by family, friends, and fellow musicians who mourned the loss of a woman whose voice seemed touched by heaven. Though her life was short, Riperton's legacy has never faded. Lovin' You remains one of the most recognizable love songs of all time, and her influence continues through her daughter, Maya Rudolph, who honors her mother's memory as an actress and comedian. Minnie Riperton embodied the beauty of fleeting brilliance, an artist whose voice was a gift to the world and whose spirit still resonates decades after her final song. Donny Hathaway. Donny Edward Hathaway. Born October 1, 1945 in Chicago. Illinois grew up surrounded by gospel music. Raised in St. Louis by his grandmother Martha Pitts, who was a professional gospel singer, young Donnie was introduced to the piano as a child and began performing in church by the age of 3. His early exposure to sacred music combined with formal training at Howard University gave him a foundation that blended spiritual depth with technical brilliance. While at Howard, he studied alongside future legends like Roberta Flack, sharpening his skills as a composer, arranger, and vocalist. In the late 1960s, Hathaway worked as a session musician, writing and arranging for artists under Curtis Mayfield's label, Curtom Records. His big break came in 1970 with the release of Everything Is Everything, an album that showcased his remarkable vocal range and ability to fuse gospel soul and socially conscious lyrics. Songs like The Ghetto captured the struggles of urban life while celebrating the resilience of Black communities. His warm, honeyed voice stood out in an era already filled with talent, earning him a loyal following. Perhaps his most enduring legacy came through collaborations with Roberta Flack. Their duets Where Is the Love and The Closer I Get to You both earned Grammy Awards and remain timeless classics. Together, their harmonies represented an unmatched emotional chemistry, often described as two voices made for each other. Beyond commercial success, Hathaway's music carried sincerity. He sang with vulnerability, allowing listeners to connect with both joy and sorrow in his songs. Do you think modern R&B still carries the same level of emotional rawness that Hathaway poured into every performance? Yet behind the success, Hathaway struggled with severe mental illness. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, which led to frequent hospitalizations and episodes that disrupted his career. Friends and collaborators often described him as a musical genius battling inner demons. Even during difficult times, he returned to the studio determined to create. His 1972 album, Donny Hathaway Live, is still considered one of the greatest live recordings in soul music history, capturing the intimacy and power of his artistry on stage. Tragically, on January 13, 1979, Hathaway's life ended at just 33 years old. He was found in New York having fallen from a hotel window. The news devastated the music community, especially Roberta Flack, who later admitted she could not bring herself to listen to their recordings for years. Though gone too soon, Donny Hathaway's influence remains profound. Artists from Stevie Wonder to Alicia Keys have cited him as an inspiration. His songs continue to be rediscovered by younger audiences, proving that genuine emotion never grows old. Donny Hathaway's life was brief, but his music, filled with both pain and beauty, ensures his voice will forever echo in the soul of American music. Sam Cooke. Samuel Cooke, better known as Sam Cooke, was born on January 22, 1931 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and raised in Chicago. From the moment he began singing with his siblings in a gospel group called the Singing Children, his extraordinary gift was evident. By his teenage years, he had joined the legendary Soul Stirrers, where his smooth tenor voice reshaped gospel music and attracted young fans to church performances. Cooke's ability to deliver spiritual lyrics with both passion and finesse made him a household name in gospel long before he crossed into popular music. In 1957, Sam made the daring move from gospel to secular music, a decision that was controversial at the time, but ultimately transformative. His first major hit, You Send Me, soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sold over 1.5 million copies, proving that his velvet vocals could transcend genres. Over the next decade, he released a string of classics including Cupid Chain Gang and Twistin' the Night Away. Altogether, Cooke placed 29 singles in the top 40, cementing his reputation as the king of soul. Beyond his artistry, Cooke was also a trailblazer in business. At a time when Black artists were often exploited, he founded his own record label, SAR Records, and a publishing company, giving himself ownership over his music. This foresight opened doors for future generations of African-American musicians to maintain creative and financial control of their work. His dual role as both artist and entrepreneur made him a model of independence and empowerment. In 1964, Cooke released one of his most enduring songs, "A change is gonna come." Inspired by personal experiences with racial injustice, the ballad became an anthem of the civil rights movement, embodying both sorrow and hope. With its sweeping strings and heartfelt delivery, the song continues to resonate decades later, often performed at events honoring equality and justice. Tragically, Sam Cooke's life ended on December 11, 1964, when he was fatally shot at a Los Angeles motel. He was just 33 years old. The circumstances of his death remain clouded in controversy, sparking debate that continues to this day. His passing robbed the world of an artist at the peak of his creativity, one whose influence had only begun to shape the future of soul music. Even though his career was cut short, Cooke's impact is immeasurable. His fusion of gospel roots with popular sensibilities laid the foundation for soul-influencing icons like Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding, and Marvin Gaye. Sam Cooke was not just a singer, he was a voice of his generation, and his message still carries power in ours. Nelson Ellis. Nelson Ellis, born November 30th, 1977 in Harvey, Illinois, was a gifted actor, playwright, and storyteller who brought unforgettable depth to every role he touched. After his parents' divorce, Ellis spent part of his childhood in Alabama before returning to Illinois, where he discovered his passion for the arts. His talent and determination led him to the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City. While there, he wrote a semi-autobiographical play titled Ugly, which won the Lincoln Center's Martin E. Segal Award, foreshadowing the brilliance he would later bring to the stage and screen. Ellis first gained attention in television dramas like The Inside and Veronica Mars, but it was his portrayal of Lafayette Reynolds in HBO's True Blood that turned him into a household name. Lafayette, a bold, witty, and complex character, was originally written to be killed off early in the series. However, Ellis's magnetic performance was so compelling that producers kept him on for all 7 seasons. His blend of humor, vulnerability, and unflinching authenticity made Lafayette one of the most beloved characters on the show, earning Ellis critical acclaim and a devoted fan base. Beyond True Blood, Ellis also left his mark in film. He portrayed Reverend James Brown in The Express, 2008, Martin Luther King Jr., in Lee Daniels' The Butler, 2013, and appeared alongside Viola Davis in Get On Up, 2014. Each role revealed his versatility, showing that he could embody historical figures with gravitas while also delivering flamboyant, scene-stealing performances in fictional worlds. Ellis was widely praised for bringing both humanity and dignity to every character, no matter how big or small the role. Despite his professional success, Ellis faced personal struggles. He battled alcohol dependency for years, and in 2017, while attempting to quit on his own, he suffered complications related to alcohol withdrawal. On July 8, 2017, he passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 39. The news shocked fans and colleagues, with many in Hollywood paying tribute to his talent, warmth, and generosity. His family later revealed his struggles in hopes of raising awareness about addiction and encouraging others to seek help rather than fight silently. Although his life was cut short, Ellis's legacy continues to resonate. His work on True Blood redefined what supporting characters could mean to a series, and his portrayals of real-life figures showcased his commitment to authenticity. For many fans, he was more than just an actor. He was a storyteller who reflected truths often left unspoken. Nelson Ellis's brilliance was brief but unforgettable, ensuring his impact on television and film will never fade. Misty Upham. Misty Ann Upham, born July 6, 1982 in Kalispell, Montana, was a proud member of the Blackfeet Nation and one of the few indigenous actresses to break into mainstream Hollywood. Raised in Auburn, Washington, she faced personal challenges growing up, including poverty and emotional trauma. Yet through acting, she found a voice and a platform to tell stories that often went unheard. Her determination to represent Native and marginalized communities became a driving force throughout her career. Her breakthrough came in 2008 with Frozen River, an independent film about 2 women who smuggle immigrants across the US-Canada border. Upam's performance as Lila Littlewolf earned her widespread acclaim, including a nomination for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female. Critics praised her ability to portray both vulnerability and quiet strength, marking her as an actress of remarkable depth. Frozen River went on to win the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival, putting Misty on the map as a rising star. She continued to take on challenging roles that highlighted complex narratives. In August Osage County 2013, she acted alongside Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, and Benedict Cumberbatch, bringing a heartfelt authenticity to her character, Jana Manavata. She also appeared in Jimmy P. Psychotherapy of a Plains Indian, further solidifying her reputation as a performer committed to roles that reflected cultural identity and social realities. Misty's choice of projects reflected her mission to elevate Indigenous voices and stories within Hollywood, where they were often overlooked. Despite her growing success, Misty battled personal struggles including depression and lasting trauma from past abuse. On October 5, 2014, she was reported missing from her sister's apartment in Auburn, Washington. After 11 agonizing days, her body was discovered at the bottom of a ravine near the White River. She was only 32 years old. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, though questions about the circumstances surrounding her disappearance and death continue to raise concerns within her community. Her family has spoken openly about systemic failures, suggesting that more could have been done to search for her sooner. Misty's passing was not only a devastating loss for her loved ones, but also for the Indigenous and film communities. She had become a beacon of representation, someone who fought to carve out space for underrepresented stories on screen. Though her career was tragically brief, her performances remain a testament to her talent and her mission. Misty Upam's legacy reminds us of the urgent need for inclusivity and empathy in Hollywood. Her voice may have been silenced too soon, but her impact continues to resonate. Bobbi Kristina Brown. Bobbi Kristina Brown, born March 4, 1993 in Livingston, New Jersey, entered the world already in the spotlight as the only child of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. With parents who were global superstars, her childhood was marked by red carpet appearances, television specials, and public fascination. From an early age, she displayed her mother's charisma and vocal talent, often singing alongside Whitney during live performances. To many, Bobbi Kristina seemed destined to continue the family's musical legacy. Her life unfolded before millions of viewers, especially during the mid-2000s when she appeared on the reality show Being Bobby Brown. The exposure introduced her not only as Whitney's daughter, but also as a spirited young woman growing up in extraordinary circumstances. After Whitney's death in 2012, Bobbi Kristina expressed her desire to carry on her mother's legacy. She performed tributes, appeared at award ceremonies, and began exploring acting opportunities, including a guest role on Tyler Perry's series For Better or Worse. Yet life in the public eye came with heavy burdens. Losing her mother at just 18 years old devastated her emotionally. Struggling with grief, she leaned on close friends and family, but often found herself the subject of tabloid speculation. Despite these challenges, she remained determined to prove herself as more than just Whitney's daughter, showing glimpses of both strength and vulnerability as she navigated young adulthood. Tragedy struck on January 31, 2015, when Bobbi Kristina was found unresponsive in a bathtub at her Atlanta home, eerily similar to the circumstances of her mother's passing 3 years earlier. Rushed to the hospital, she was placed in a medically induced coma. For nearly 6 months, fans and family members held on to hope as vigils were held outside the hospital and prayers poured in from around the world. On July 26, 2015, she died at the age of 22. The official cause was lobar pneumonia complicated by substance intoxication and immersion in water. Her death shocked the world not only because of the parallels with Whitney Houston's passing, but also because it felt like the extinguishing of a legacy that never had the chance to fully blossom. Bobbi Kristina's story is one of immense promise overshadowed by tragedy, reminding us of the fragility of fame and the weight of inherited stardom. Though her life was heartbreakingly short, Bobby Christina remains remembered as the bridge between two iconic voices in music history. Her memory lives on through tributes, documentaries, and the enduring love of her family and fans who continue to honor her as more than just Whitney's daughter. She was her own person with dreams that deserved more time. Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Jean Dandridge, born November 9, 1922 in Cleveland, Ohio, was destined to break barriers long before Hollywood was ready to fully embrace her. Raised by her mother, Ruby, a performer herself, Dorothy began singing and dancing as a child. Alongside her sister Vivian, she formed part of the Wonder Children, a touring act that later became known as the Dandridge Sisters. They performed across the United States, particularly on the Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues that catered to black performers during segregation. This early exposure not only sharpened Dorothy's talents, but also introduced her to the harsh realities of racial inequality in entertainment. Her career took off in the 1940s and 1950s as she transitioned from nightclub performances to film roles. Known for her beauty grace and striking screen presence, Dorothy quickly captured the attention of audiences and casting directors. Yet Hollywood was still plagued by typecasting and discrimination, often limiting her to roles that were stereotypical or secondary. Refusing to accept such boundaries, Dorothy pushed for more substantial opportunities, determined to prove she was more than a supporting character. In 1954, her perseverance paid off when she starred in Carmen Jones, a musical adaptation of Bizet's opera. Dorothy's performance was electrifying, and she became the first African-American woman ever nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. This milestone shattered glass ceilings, signaling that black actresses could carry leading roles in Hollywood films. She later appeared in Porgy and Bess 1959, acting alongside Sidney Poitier, further cementing her reputation as a trailblazer. Despite her professional achievements, Dorothy's personal life was filled with hardship. She struggled with failed relationships, financial difficulties, and the relentless pressures of fame. Hollywood's racial barriers, combined with the limited opportunities given to black women, often left her frustrated and underappreciated. While she earned respect for her artistry, the lack of consistent roles made it difficult to sustain the level of success she deserved. On September 8, 1965, Dorothy Dandridge was found dead in her Hollywood home at just 42 years old. The official cause was listed as an embolism, though some reports suggested an accidental overdose. Regardless of the exact circumstances, the world lost a woman who had carried the weight of breaking barriers on her shoulders. Dorothy's legacy continues to inspire. She is remembered not only as a glamorous star, but as a pioneer who challenged Hollywood to see black women as leading ladies. From Halle Berry's Oscar win in 2002, where Berry paid tribute to Dandridge, to the countless actresses who followed Dorothy's influence, is undeniable. Though her life ended too soon, her courage and artistry paved the way for generations. Frankie Lyman. Franklin Joseph Lyman, better known as Frankie Lyman, was born on September 30, 1942 in Harlem, New York. Growing up in a working-class family, Frankie discovered music early through his parents' love of gospel and the bustling doo-wop scene of the neighborhood. By his early teens, he had joined a group of friends who later became known as the Teenagers. Their blend of youthful charm and harmonies made them stand out in a crowded 1950s music market. In 1956, the group released Why Do Fools Fall in Love with Frankie, just 13 years old, taking the lead. The song became a runaway success, reaching #1 on the R&B chart and #6 on the Billboard Hot 100, and selling over 1 million copies. Frankie's high-pitched voice, combined with the innocence of the lyrics, resonated with both black and white audiences, breaking racial barriers during a time when segregation still defined much of American life. Overnight, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers became international stars, touring extensively and performing on major stages. As the group's popularity grew, so did Frankie's fame. His youthful image and charisma made him a teen idol, and soon he embarked on a solo career. However, the pressures of the spotlight combined with the exploitative practices of the music industry quickly took a toll. Without the steadying influence of his group, Frankie's solo career struggled to replicate his early success. Behind the scenes, Frankie battled personal demons. Introduced to heroin at the shockingly young age of 15, his addiction plagued him for the rest of his short life. The music industry, notorious at the time for failing to protect young artists, offered little support. Instead, Frankie faced financial mismanagement, fading fame, and mounting personal challenges. Despite attempts at rehabilitation and efforts to revive his career, he struggled to regain the success of his teenage years. Tragedy struck on February 27, 1968, when Frankie was found dead at his grandmother's house in Harlem. He was only 25 years old. The cause was a heroin overdose. The news stunned fans who still remembered him as the bright-eyed teenager who once asked the world why fools fall in love. Though his career lasted barely a decade, Frankie Lyman's influence has endured. He paved the way for future boy bands and teen idols, influencing groups like the Jackson 5 and later generations of young performers. His story remains both inspiring and cautionary, a reminder of the brilliance that can emerge from youth, but also the dangers of fame without guidance. Frankie Lyman's voice may have been silenced too soon, but his music still captures the innocence and promise of an era. Cheslie Kryst. Cheslie Corinne Kryst, born April 28, 1991 in Jackson, Michigan, embodied intelligence, beauty, and resilience. Raised in North and South Carolina, she excelled academically from a young age. Cheslie attended the University of South Carolina, where she graduated with honors, then went on to earn both a Juris Doctor degree and an MBA from Wake Forest University, an extraordinary accomplishment that highlighted her drive and determination. Before the world knew her as Miss USA, she was already breaking barriers as a civil litigation attorney, offering free legal aid to low-level offenders and advocating for criminal justice reform. In 2019, Cheslie's life took a dazzling turn when she was crowned Miss USA at the age of 28, making her the oldest woman ever to win the title. Her victory was not just personal, it was historic. She became part of a groundbreaking moment in pageant history as for the first time, Miss USA, Miss America, Miss Teen USA, and Miss Universe were all black women. With her radiant smile and articulate presence, Cheslie redefined what beauty queens could represent, blending pageantry with advocacy, intellect, and cultural significance. Following her reign, she became a correspondent for Extra, interviewing celebrities on red carpets and earning 2 Daytime Emmy Award nominations. Her charisma and poise made her a favorite among viewers, and she used her platform to highlight causes close to her heart, including diversity in media and mental health awareness. In addition to her television career, Cheslie was a fashion blogger and fitness enthusiast, inspiring fans with her balance of elegance and strength. Behind her achievements, Cheslie faced challenges that the public rarely saw. She spoke candidly about the difficulties of balancing her many roles and about dealing with online criticism. Despite her outward success, she battled high-functioning depression. On January 30th, 2022, the world was stunned when Cheslie died after falling from her New York City apartment building. She was only 30 years old. Her family later emphasized the importance of addressing mental health openly and compassionately, so others might find the support she herself struggled to accept. Cheslie Kryst's passing was not just a personal loss, it was a cultural shock. Here was a woman who appeared to have everything: intelligence, beauty, influence, and grace. Yet her story revealed how hidden struggles can affect even the brightest stars. Today, her legacy lives on through conversations about mental health representation and resilience. She reminds us that success should never come at the cost of silence and that true beauty lies in both strength and vulnerability. Natina Reed. Natina Tiana Reed, born October 28, 1980 in Queens, New York, was a multi-talented singer, rapper, and actress whose spark lit up the late 1990s and early 2000s R&B scene. From a young age, she gravitated toward music and poetry, often writing lyrics that revealed both her creativity and resilience. Her big break came when she caught the attention of Lisa Left Eye Lopes of TLC, who became her mentor and helped her join a new girl group that would soon change the sound of R&B Blake. Black, short for Believing in Life and Achieving a Quest for Unity in Everything, debuted in 1999 with a self-titled album that sold over 1.5 million copies. The group, consisting of Natina Reed, Brandy Williams, and Shamari DeVoe, quickly made waves with hits like 808 and Bring It All to Me, the latter featuring JC Chasez of NSYNC. Block's blend of smooth vocals, infectious beats, and youthful energy won them international recognition, and Natina stood out as the outspoken rapper with a fearless stage presence. Beyond music, Natina showed her versatility by acting in the cult classic film Bring It On 2000, where she played Genelope, a cheerleader with attitude and charisma. The film's success gave her a platform beyond the recording studio, proving that she could thrive in both acting and music. She later contributed to film soundtracks and made appearances that highlighted her unique flair. Do you think artists like Natina, who balanced both music and acting, are often underappreciated compared to those who focus on just one path? Although Blake never reached the same commercial heights as TLC, the group maintained a loyal fan base, and Natina's talent was undeniable. She also shared a personal connection to the music industry through her relationship with rapper Kurupt, with whom she had a son, Tren Brown. Friends and fans often described her as passionate and determined, always striving to reinvent herself and leave a meaningful mark. Tragically, Natina's life was cut short on October 26, 2012, just 2 days shy of her 32nd birthday. While crossing a street in Duluth, Georgia, she was struck by a car. The driver called for help and remained at the scene, but Natina did not survive. News of her passing devastated her Block bandmates and shocked fans who had hoped for the group's reunion. Though her time was brief, Natina Reed's contributions remain impactful. She is remembered as a vibrant performer who carried forward Lisa Lopes' legacy while carving out her own. Her music, acting, and personality continue to inspire fans who celebrate her as a star gone far too soon. Natina's story stands as both a reminder of her talent and a symbol of the fragility of life in the spotlight. Michelle Thomas. Michelle Doris Thomas, born September 23, 1968 in Boston, Massachusetts, was a radiant actress whose warmth and charm made her a beloved presence on television throughout the late 1980s and 1990s. The daughter of musician Dennis Thomas, a founding member of the legendary funk band Kool and the Gang, Michelle grew up in a creative household where artistry was part of daily life. She began entering beauty pageants as a teenager, eventually winning the title of Miss Talented Teen International in 1984, a stepping stone that launched her into acting. Her breakout role came in 1988 when she joined The Cosby Show as Justine Phillips, Theo Huxtable's girlfriend. With her natural beauty, quick wit, and effortless ability to connect with audiences, Michelle stood out among the ensemble cast. Fans adored her for the warmth she brought to the role, making Justine more than just a side character. She was relatable and real, embodying the energy of young love and youthful optimism. After The Cosby Show, Michelle landed another iconic part, Myra Monkhouse on Family Matters. Introduced as the love interest of Steve Urkel, she quickly became a fan favorite. Her comedic timing, combined with a sweet sincerity, gave depth to what could have been a one-note character. She remained on the show from 1993 until 1998, making Myra one of the most memorable characters in the sitcom's long run. Michelle also appeared in The Young and the Restless, further showcasing her versatility as an actress. Despite her success, Michelle faced a heartbreaking battle behind the scenes. In 1997, she was diagnosed with a rare abdominal cancer called desmoplastic small round cell tumor. Even as she underwent treatment and surgery, she continued to radiate positivity and gratitude. Friends and colleagues often spoke of her unwavering spirit, describing her as someone who uplifted others, even in her most difficult moments. Tragically, on December 23, 1998, Michelle Thomas passed away in New York City at just 30 years old, surrounded by her family and close friends. Her death shocked fans who had grown up watching her on their television screens and admired her both for her talent and her grace. Michelle's legacy endures through the joy she brought to millions of households. Reruns of The Cosby Show and Family Matters continue to introduce her to new audiences, keeping her memory alive. Though her career was cut short, her contributions to television remain timeless. Michelle Thomas is remembered not only as a gifted actress, but as a shining spirit whose light, though brief, left an everlasting glow. Lee Thompson Young. Lee Thompson Young, born February 1, 1984, in Columbia, South Carolina, was a gifted actor whose charisma and talent made him one of the most recognizable young stars of his generation. From an early age, he displayed a natural love for storytelling, often writing short plays and dreaming of performing. His breakthrough came at just 13 years old when he landed the lead role in the Disney Channel original series, The Famous Jet Jackson. As Jet, a teenager balancing his real life with playing a television superhero, Young captivated audiences with his charm, authenticity, and relatability. The show ran from 1998 to 2001 and became a cultural touchstone for a generation of viewers, making Young a household name. Following his Disney success, Young proved his range by taking on more mature roles. He appeared in Friday Night Lights 2004 as Chris Comer, and starred in Akeelah and the Bee, 2006, playing the supportive older brother of Keke Palmer's character. Television also became a steady home for his talent with guest roles on series like Smallville and Scrubs, where he showcased his versatility as both a dramatic and comedic actor. By 2010, Young had earned a recurring role on TNT's crime drama Rizzoli and Isles, portraying Detective Barry Frost, a character loved for his loyalty, intelligence, and gentle humor. As his career blossomed, Young was praised for maintaining humility and professionalism in an industry often unforgiving to child stars. Colleagues described him as thoughtful, kind, and deeply committed to his craft. Fans admired him not only for his on-screen presence, but also for the role model he became off-screen, representing stability and grace under the pressures of fame. Despite his success, Young struggled privately with depression. Unlike the confident characters he portrayed, he fought internal battles largely hidden from the public eye. On August 19, 2013, tragedy struck when Young was found dead in his Los Angeles apartment at only 29 years old. His passing shocked fans worldwide and devastated his colleagues, especially the cast of Rizzoli and Isles, who dedicated episodes in his memory. Though his life ended too soon, Lee Thompson Young's impact remains powerful. For many, The Famous Jet Jackson was more than just a TV show, it was a formative part of their childhood. His roles in film and television left behind a body of work that continues to inspire. Young's story is both inspiring and heartbreaking proof of his immense talent and a reminder of the importance of mental health awareness. His light, though brief, still shines in the memories of those who grew up watching him. Naya Rivera. Naya Marie Rivera, born January 12, 1987 in Valencia, California, was a multi-talented actress, singer, and model who captured hearts from childhood and became a defining face of 2010's television. Her career began at just 4 years old, with recurring roles on shows like The Royal Family and Family Matters. She also appeared in commercials and music videos, building a resume that revealed her versatility long before her breakout. That breakout came in 2009 when she was cast as Santana Lopez on the hit Fox series Glee. Initially a background cheerleader, Santana grew into one of the show's most complex and beloved characters. Rivera's sharp comedic timing, powerful vocals, and fearless emotional depth transformed Santana into a cultural icon. Her portrayal of a Latina lesbian navigating her identity broke barriers for representation on primetime television. Through Santana, Rivera gave a voice to countless young viewers who saw themselves reflected on screen for the first time. Songs like Valerie and If I Die Young showcased her vocal power, while her dramatic storylines demonstrated her acting range. Beyond Glee, Rivera pursued music, releasing her own singles and signing with Columbia Records. She also appeared in films like At the Devil's Door, 2014, further proving her ability to tackle diverse roles. Off-screen, she was admired for her candidness, speaking openly about motherhood identity and mental health. Her 2016 memoir, Sorry Not Sorry: Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up, revealed both her vulnerabilities and her resilience, offering fans a glimpse into the woman behind the spotlight. On July 8, 2020, Rivera rented a pontoon boat at Lake Piru in California with her 4-year-old son, Josie. When the boat was not returned on time, authorities found Josie alone and asleep wearing his life jacket. After a massive search that lasted 5 days, Rivera's body was discovered on July 13th. Authorities determined that she had drowned after managing to save her son by pushing him onto the boat before being overcome by the current. She was just 33 years old. Her passing shocked the world. Co-stars, fans, and fellow artists paid tribute, remembering her as a fierce talent, a devoted mother, and a trailblazer. Though her life ended tragically, Naya Rivera's legacy remains one of courage and impact. Through Santana Lopez, she gave marginalized voices visibility, and through her final act of heroism, she left a legacy of love and sacrifice. Naya Rivera will always be remembered not only as a star, but as a symbol of strength, authenticity, and devotion. 20 remarkable lives, each cut short, remind us that greatness often comes with fragility. From Aaliyah's timeless voice to Tupac's fearless words, from Dorothy Dandridge's barrier-breaking grace to Naya Rivera's final act of heroism, their stories still echo in our hearts. But here's the question. Were these legends truly destined to leave early, making their impact even more powerful, or did the world simply fail to protect them? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more untold stories.